This is the RIOT Podcast.
Happy Friday.
Hello.
And have a wonderful weekend. And hopefully that starts off with enjoying this podcast.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. In the podcast today, you're going to hear Nikki's anger at the restaurant guy. We've got some hobby talk.
The new Hobby Lobby.
The norovirus, the Cloverfield paradox. I love this. A new ball that's changing the sport of golf.
What will that be
An
about?
inside report on golf and its future.
And that's good in case you're like, the RIOT never talks about sports. Well, we do.
We do.
Here we talk about a golf ball.
Mm-hmm. So you guys enjoy this podcast. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
Please take some time to join us at Radio U RIOT. Feel free to follow us on Facebook and also on YouTube if you subscribe, and then click to be notified through both areas. And then while we're there, maybe click over to Radio U Official and follow us on Instagram.
Anything else?
Have a great weekend.
It is the RIOT.
Bye.
You don't have to apologize unless you've done something wrong.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't even think straight right now.
This is the worst of the riot. We're very, very sorry.
Thanks to Mitch. He just texted us at 877-2-RADIO-U. He says, petition to make Monday a national holiday.
Aww.
So we can all have work off and just focus on Nikki.
See, Mitch, I think that's important. Now, I always had a hard time growing up because my birthday floats with President's Day. Mm-hmm. So sometime President's Day will land on my birthday, sometimes it won't. So I was always bummed on the day it did. Like, we didn't have school, and I felt like I missed out.
Oh, you miss out.
Yeah, so I know for like this Monday, it is President's Day, but we should make it every year. We get the day off.
I agree.
Every year.
So instead of it being like a rotating holiday, it's
like,
just the...
It always stays with the national holiday we have to create in order to make sure we all get the day off, no matter what.
But based on what you just said, that's not actually what you want. What you really want...
Everybody else can have the day off. Well, no, I don't want...
Is that everyone has to work that day. And unfortunately, it sounds like you're going to have to work that day because... You want everybody to acknowledge and participate in your birthday.
And they won't if they're not there.
Exactly.
So like, you're missing out. Oh,
so like if your birthday's on a Sunday, we need everybody to go to work so that people properly celebrate your birthday.
How about this? We get the day off after my birthday. The day after.
I like that.
So then that way we get, back on to not birthday day.
Well, how about this? We put so much energy into not, of course, work and or school that day, but then we celebrate your birthday all night.
We're
and then
exhausted.
The next day we're so tired.
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah.
So not just, it would be nice, but no one will ever do anything if it's always on my birthday. So let's do the day after.
Does anybody get President's Day off anymore?
I think schools do. Like if you're a teacher?
Some do, but not all of them.
Not all?
Some of them don't get it off. Like I know, I know one friend that's a teacher, they've got Monday off, but then it seems like nobody else.
I think
is it still a thing?
I think so. I think most do, and I think probably banks.
Well,
it sounds
they don't
like
work.
A bank holiday.
Like banks and the federal government, drop of the hat, they're not working.
I bet you there's no mail. I'm sure it's the traditional ones.
Probably not. Probably not. That's what we should do. We should be working for the post office because they're just like, yeah, no mail today. No mail. I didn't show up. No mail. No mail.
But they're supposed to deliver no matter
Nikki's
what.
birthday, no mail.
I couldn't possibly. Well, they can't handle the load.
It's a lot. Well, actually, it's more like they're all delivering to Nikki's house. There's so many presents that have to be delivered that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
So, Mitch, we like the idea. We're kind of workshopping it here, as you could see. Ooh, I like Randall's idea even better. He says, how about the week after?
That is even better.
So we all celebrate on your day and then just take a week off.
The whole week off.
So it's like Golden Week.
It might seem excessive to some people, but I think if you really settled down and enjoyed it, you'd have a good time.
Let me tell you what. Give me a day off for any reason you want. Any reason you want. I'm on board.
He just wants a day off.
I'm on board.
Sure, the RIOT could start eating healthy, or they could continue living happy, enjoyable lives. The RIOT on Radio U.
Nikki, have you ever Ubered?
No, I have not.
You've never Ubered?
No,
You seem so savvy.
You know what? I've never had a need, and whenever I'm on vacation, I usually rent a car.
Okay.
So it tends to be, if those are the two reasons why you'd want one. Mm-hmm. So I just haven't had a chance.
Man, I will tell you, especially if you're visiting like a metro area on vacation, Uber is...
And you don't have a car, yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. So like when I went to D.C. last year, I parked at the hotel, but then going into downtown D.C., you feel like everything's close, but a lot of times things are like, well, it's only 5 miles away. That's kind of a long way, really. When you really get down to it, that's a long walk. It's like a 2-hour walk.
I use the city bikes.
I could have done that, I guess. But like I Ubered a lot, actually. And it was it wasn't cheap, but it was an easy way to get around very quickly.
Plus, when you're on vacation, you're like, well, I'll try Uber, I'll try Lyft, I'll try anything that might give me the free ride first.
I did get at least a free ride out of it. So, all right, let's talk Uber, though. We've got the story here of a woman. Her name is Tiras. She took an Uber from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And she said they're in the car, and all of a sudden the driver got really quiet, and she noticed that he was reaching for his cup, and then she heard the sound of, in the cup.
Okay, wait. I'm like, there's a couple options here.
Okay, he was peeing in the cup.
He was peeing in the cup. That's what I landed at,
She said that she heard the sound of, like, all of a sudden running water.
See,
and
this
like,
is also why I just don't like it. Here's so many horror stories.
She said the smell filled the car.
Oh, come on.
And then she was like, what are you doing?
Why are you doing that now?
And he said, I'm so sorry, but I would have peed my pants. I couldn't wait.
A little communication. Like, is there a problem to pull over? No, if you just ask. Now you get a worse rating because of this.
How about you don't get to drive for Uber anymore?
Good. They don't, I feel like, take a lot of action all the time.
They pulled his license or whatever the heck you get from Uber that lets you drive. Oh,
That's
my gosh.
gross.
Oh, my gosh. Right?
Yes.
Dude, what would you do?
I have been in the car before with
Someone doing that?
someone doing that.
Yeah, but you knew them.
Yes, a couple not well. Not well enough to be that. If you travel at any time with bands or around those situations, I mean, or like, what's the trucker ones called?
Trucker bombs?
Trucker bombs, like they throw them out and
Fill the bottle and throw it out?
you feel bad for anybody who mows like that stretch of the
That's why they call them
freeway.
that, because when they run them over, they explode.
They explode, and it's not like soda in there anymore.
Not anymore.
But this is like a complete stranger, and that's really weird.
I've never been in that situation where I'm just like, look, I have to go to the bathroom. We're going to have to stop. Not like, hey, does anybody have a cup?
Anybody at all?
And I understand, like, as an Uber driver, it's your job. You're trying to make money, but
Well, we just don't do that.
you could just not take the fare. Maybe pull over, go to the bathroom. And I mean, that's 5 minutes.
Even if it's medical and it's an emergency, communication, back to what I was saying. Tell your person, hey, I'm going to pull over. I'm so sorry. And you'll get a better review based on the honesty of that compared to, yes, you've been fired.
Well, what about this? What are people doing in their cars? Like, that just makes me wonder. I'm driving along. I mean, sure, I see people watching TV, shaving, putting on their makeup, all these different things I see people doing. It never occurs to me, they're like, yeah, the guy next to me going 70 miles an hour, he's going to the bathroom. Is it any wonder that traffic accidents exist?
I guess, right.
I mean, come on, dude.
Let's be thankful it's just peeing in the bottle.
I've got nothing else to say about that.
It could be worse.
That goat farm is looking more and more likely every day. It's the worst of the riot.
How concerned are you about the sport of golf right now? I mean, did you wake up, have a hard time sleeping because you're just like, man, there's stuff going on with golf. I just can't. What are we going to do?
I don't think that's what's keeping us from sleeping at night. I think it's still looking at our phone.
Guys.
Not golf.
Well, are you playing golf on your phone? Are you reading golf news on your phone?
You're right, it could be.
I had a golf game on my phone for a little while, but I didn't like it.
Was it Hot Shots or that version of it?
No, the thing I don't like about it is that basically back in the day, and I mean like 2 years ago, you could buy a golf game for your phone and like pay $5 and get a golf game. And now it's like, want to play another hole? It's only 50 cents. It's like, what? Are you serious right now?
You can't even just pay for the course. It's like nothing.
Want to drive farther? These clubs are only $199.
Suddenly your inexpensive fun game became too expensive.
Just like, bro, what do you think? Like, how invested do you think I am in this fake golf game that for $2 to shoot? No.
I only play this because I can't afford to play the real one.
No. I am sure there are plenty of whales out there that are spending buku bucks on whatever, but I'm not that guy. Here's what's going on in the game of golf. Sound smart to your friends. Apparently, some scientists at Manchester University won a Nobel Prize for making what people are saying is the strongest, thinnest material on Earth. It's called graphene. Mm-hmm. And they are starting to make golf balls with graphene.
In it? Or it's just made of it?
Yeah, so guess what that means, Nikki? The ball
goes
is
farther,
stronger but lighter than ever before.
So it will go farther if you hit it.
It does. It's like when in the Olympics when people are swimming in shark skin tight whatever, and they're
Made from local dolphin.
slicing through the water and achieving speeds they never have before because of this innovation.
Is the technology? Mm-hmm. That's hard, though, because some people say it's not fair. You know, like if it's not, if everybody doesn't have it across the golf board.
Well, how about this? Sergio Garcia, his shots on average were 19 yards longer when he won the Singapore Open last month than on the entire 2017 tour.
And he used this new golf ball technology?
As a matter of fact, he did.
That's fascinating.
So critics are saying this is also fascinating, that because of the extra distance of these balls can travel, they will, and I quote, render historic courses obsolete. So they go play these same courses, whatever, on the tour. And now that they can drive farther, so much farther.
What was hard becomes not as hard anymore.
It's going to get way too easy in order to do that.
Like par doesn't mean anything. You can manage to get this.
It's kind of fascinating, especially considering how boring golf is. They finally have something.
Yeah.
They got something to talk about. Like, guys, when's the last time they made that big of an innovation in the sport of golf?
Well, once that happens, then you're right. They do need to go back and start looking at courses, and perhaps you have to change it up a bit.
Hasn't been this controversial since they started wearing sweat whisking polos instead of a standard cotton polo.
I remember when that happened.
Can you, do you
remember
scandal,
the day?
But you know what? They did adapt, and they allow the sweat whisking.
Sure.
Wicking. It's not whisking, it's wicking. Sweat wicking.
If you're a fan of golf, then this could change the game.
You've been up all night rolling around trying to figure it out.
Now, if you're like, oh, this makes my game better, you still have to hit the ball, which is still my problem. So the ball might be better, but you got to at least connect with it, and that seems to be the harder part.
I'm not saying that golf is suddenly not golf anymore.
It's still hard.
It's still golf.
You remember that time you started your morning with a gas station breakfast sandwich and immediately regretted it? Yeah, it's like that. The Riot. Radio U.
So yesterday during the show, I asked you guys to tell me what your hobbies are.
I was surprised there's so many.
A lot of people into a lot of stuff. And I was
these
like,
are
hey,
a lot of great hobbies.
like, tell us what your hobbies are, or tell me a hobby you think that I should think about getting into, because I don't really have any hobbies. I like to play video games. The other thing is, I do have a tendency to think of the Riot as my hobby, because, which probably sounds ridiculous to you, but at night, I spend time working on the Riot, and that takes some time. And
that's hobby time.
I think it actually might be. I think that might be prime hobby time that I'm putting into this.
But you've noticed several friends taking up different types of hobbies, and you feel like, well, maybe if there's something you can do.
Yeah, so Jenny paints. Brian does disc golf. Jackson says, I've been learning to play the drums. Becca says mooring. Not as glamorous as some others, but good for the mind. And there are many interesting stories to find. That's fair. Javin says woodworking. Ruki says crochet. Amanda does ukulele, drawing, and needle felting.
That's a lot.
I have no idea what that is. Leatherwork, says Roy. Becky says of knitting. Thomas, blacksmithing.
Hello.
What? That's amazing. Let's see. Robert says, I read sermons from famous preachers, and I run obstacle races like the Spartan race and the Warrior Dash.
Nice.
Jason says, Obi has nerd in his DNA. He collects figures. He should dabble in toy making.
Actually, it's a great idea.
Or
I saw a couple of people who take action fingers and paint those and make different things out of them. Mm-hmm. So that's something too.
Nate, I hate how much you got me there. I have done model building, and he's got a Zeta Gundam, a photo that he painted a model, and
that seems perfect for you.
I have built that model.
Does that count as a hobby?
I'm not even kidding.
Does that count as a hobby then, or you just haven't done it in a while?
Probably, but I haven't done it in a while. I do have a couple of models at home that I got, but I haven't built.
Well, there's something.
Aaron texted in, says, I think you'd be a good writer. I think part of the problem is, Eric and I talked about this yesterday, is that a lot of times by the end of the day at Radio U, I do some writing for Radio U. We also do a lot of talking. That by the end of the day, I have a tendency to be a little creatively spent.
Your words are done.
Yeah, and that's what Eric was saying. One of the reasons he likes woodworking is that it doesn't involve, like, it's creativity, but it's working with your hands. I just don't know. Like, I don't know.
Well, keep looking. There's a lot on those lists.
There's a lot of hobbies out there. I almost feel like I need to save the list. This is a little transparent, but I'm kind of depressed right now. And you could say to me, like, hey, here's $1 million. We're going to take you to a beach, exotic vacation. And my response would probably be, I'd really rather go home and sit in my basement.
Oh, maybe not.
So, I mean,
maybe next time.
Maybe it's not the best time to be looking for a hobby, but I am legitimately interested because I keep finding people. I'm fascinated by their hobbies, and I'm fascinated by the way that people connect with other people through their hobbies. I think it's amazing.
Well, you can post if there's a hobby you think that might be good for him. The Radio You Riot on our Facebook page, and Dylan brought in the good text right there.
Oh, sleep.
That's a hobby that we can all get behind.
Yeah,
way to go, Dylan.
Come on. Nice.
I'd like to medal in that.
Yeah, you know what? I'd be willing to try that out right now.
That's one you don't mind working on every day.
Maybe
a
it's
little bit of hobby time.
Maybe if we tried it now, we'd know by the end of the day whether we were really into it or not.
Then you could call like a sleep store, like a mattress place, like the new Hobby Lobby. It's like the nap place.
I do like that.
Let's take all of the most mind-numbing things the Riot has ever said and play them again.
It's a stupid idea, but I love it.
It's the Riot on Radio U.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but the internet makes people do dumb things. Tide Pod Challenge. Anybody hear about the cotton candy in the attic?
That's a new one.
And the thing is, though, like when I look...
And that's not really one. That's just a meme.
That's just a thing. Shh. I just don't know whether to take things seriously. Here's a report from ABC 15 in Arizona.
It's a hot report. Just listen.
It is a hot report. This is from Tucson. They say that the latest new hotness to replace the Tide Pod Challenge is the Hot Coil Challenge.
What does that even mean?
It means this. You put your arm down on your oven.
Yeah.
Like the range.
Oh, and...
Turn it all the way up. How long can you leave your arm on the range?
Why would you do that?
Well, now,
burning
okay.
your arm.
My thought was, that's not real. And then I thought the Tide Pod Challenge wasn't real because it was a joke that College Humor did.
All right. Now, we did not have, I believe, a lesson on the Tide Pod thing when we were younger, but I did remember being told, don't touch the stove. Mm-hmm. So I thought we already went through all this.
To be clear, though, my grandma never said, don't put your arm on the stove and then turn it on.
Yeah, you're right.
She just said, don't touch it. It's hot.
If it's hot.
So technically, when you're putting your arm on it, it's not hot.
So I have a gas
stove. See what
stove.
I did there?
I don't want to do this.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I'm not participating in this challenge.
I have an electric range.
So that's what probably most are going with. Wonder how long you can keep it on there. No, see, that's
Nikki,
what leads to it. I'm so sorry.
Do you
I'm
understand?
So sorry. That's it.
Do you understand
I removed
what you
myself
just
from this.
did? You just did it. Like, you just did it.
And in my mind, I was like, I wonder how long I could last.
Nikki, why don't you put a shirt on right now that says, I am the problem?
And you're with stupid. It's just right here.
I wonder how long you could leave your arm on there before it gets too hot.
10 seconds? I don't know. Maybe more.
I have no idea. And
I don't want to get burnt. That's terrible.
I know. But
then you have that little coil thing on your arm.
But you'd click, wouldn't you?
No.
Yes, you would.
No, I would not.
You would. You just
I am not a part of the problem.
You just told me that you would click.
But it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
There you go.
That's why things are things.
You just did that.
Nope.
Yep. Yeah. Uh-huh. You did.
So don't do it, everybody.
What?
And by telling you about it, no, you're like, gosh, now it's in my head. Don't do it.
Every time I go into the kitchen, I can't stop thinking about it.
It just starts glowing, and it's like, touch me.
No!
I'm not going to do that.
Don't do that!
Turn me on.
But see, the thing is, like, I don't even know if it's real. Like, they have an instance of, like, a person doing it.
And then in Tucson, they're like, guys, we could be the heart of a start of a new trend.
We're going to blow it all up.
We could be the one that started it all. So,
this is how you break in.
This
is how you break in. Stunting. It's how you do it. Come on. Don't do it.
So no to the hot coil challenge, because that doesn't sound weird at all.
We thought about selling the worst of the riot, but let's be honest, no one is buying this stuff. Get it for free on the Radio U app.
Tell them what you just told me.
I don't want to say it.
Well,
There's off-air stuff. I was just
leave it
asking
there?
you a question.
All
no
right.
one needs to hear that on their Friday morning drive.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I've got another off-air question to ask you. I'm going to leave names out of the equation, but a couple of minutes ago, I was asking Nikki, like, hey, Nikki, blah, 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 did you know that this restaurant's doing this promotion? And she was like, well, they're off the list. Or no, you said they're on the list. That man was mean to me. They're on the list.
I don't want to go back to that restaurant.
You have a list of restaurants that you don't go to?
No, I just have a couple of things. If someone is not nice, and then I don't want to go back. I don't want to spend my money there.
But that's like one person.
No, I really didn't like that. So here's
here's what I want to know what he did to you.
Here's the details. I got some money from somebody, and they got it from a bank, and they were these weird $20 bills from like 1969.
They were old 20s.
Very old, but very legal, and they are supposed to work everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was at the drive-thru for this particular location. It took like 10 minutes to even get to the window. It was so poorly run, and so everybody's just mad.
I will tell you, their lunchtime setup is not good.
It's terrible.
It's not good.
So I get to the window, and the guy takes my money, and I pay with a 20, or I pay with 2 20s. I was getting food for others. And I'm just there waiting, and I'm like, hey, I've been very patient and very nice. And then it takes me like 5 more minutes. And then suddenly it hurts. I don't want to think about it. I'm not
I want to hear it. I want to hear all the painful details.
No, so the manager guy then comes because the guy who took my money went and got the manager.
So now we're talking about 2 people.
Yeah, I didn't care about the guy taking money. He was fine. The manager guy comes running up to the window and is like, this is counterfeit money. I am not taking this money. You've got to be kidding me. And I'm very much a tone person.
Now, I will tell you guys,
if
you can
I feel like you're not being nice to me in a tone, I don't want to deal with it.
Even if the words are technically okay, if your tone is off, Nikki is out.
I don't like it. I get very upset, and I got very upset. So he gave me, I had to make the change back to him because the guy had already given me change, and then pay again with a credit card. And he was so just like rude. And I'm like, I'm not using counterfeit money. He could have talked to me about it or asked or been nicer. And so he's on the list. I'm not going there anymore.
Okay, you know what? I'll take that. Now, I thought you were going to give me a Michael story.
No.
Now, Michael's stories are like, I don't like the way the waitress looked at me when I asked for cheese.
Well, I was just so embarrassed. I'm like, the way he was yelling at me, and then I had gone to Wendy's 2 days later to get a little soda.
Yeah.
And
you were trying to recover.
I also had the $20 bills because I had several of them, and I could tell they were talking about this bill. And the guy taking my money went to go talk to the manager about it, and they were putting it through their counterfeit machine. They have a little scanner or something. The guy comes to the window, the manager, he's like, I know this is real, but Wendy's won't take it because it can't be proven that it's not, because it's so old.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, you know what? Thank you. He gives me my bill back. I pay with something else. I went to my bank, and I changed all those 20s out.
Man, Nikki, you're passing bum money all over town. You're getting a reputation.
The Wendy's guy was so nice about it. He's like, I know this is, he told me the year, he looked it up, he just couldn't accept it and so that's how you handle it. Not the other guy who was yelling at me.
Okay, I will tell you, your story checks out.
Yes.
Because it was the manager that was mean to you.
He was yelling at me.
Not the rank and file.
Nope.
I totally get that. Because, look, man, I've been the rank and file, and I know, it gets weird. I totally get that. But if the manager can't hold it together, and here's the thing. When somebody comes at you and says, you're counterfeiting.
Like I was doing. Yes.
No, I'm out. Like that accusatory tone.
I did not enjoy.
I can totally see just be like,
hear him
bro,
everywhere him yelling at me. So that's why I'm not going there anymore. I did not like how he chose to manage his store.
Okay. All right. You know what? That checks out. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not going to go there because I keep going there, forget the lunch through the drive-thru, and I'm not paying with my counterfeit money.
Apparently not. I'm not doing it again.
I don't blame you for that.
So that's my story.
Let's get his name, and every week, you know what? We'll just start every week on Monday. We'll call it lunch and be like, hey, is so-and-so there? Has he been fired yet? Okay. I'm not coming back.
Going until
we'll just every Monday we'll just keep calling.
But see the difference, especially if you're working with people. You could have done the same thing and told me, "Hey, I can't take this $20 bill." That guy was mean. The Wendy's guy was super nice about it. I'll go back to Wendy's. I'm not going back to the other place.
So you're saying it's how they handled it and not the situation itself.
Exactly.
Would you say it's their
tone, which is very, very, very important.
The part that keeps me up at night, we paid them for this. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
So, Nikki, we were talking about your hit list of restaurants where you won't go back to.
It's I just choose not to go there anymore. They weren't nice.
I'm sorry. I stole that from Rachel in Texas. She texted and said, Nikki has a hit list. I don't think that therapy helped to get rid of Tina quite enough.
No, I try. I think because I am somewhat nicer and I get very shy. I don't want to draw attention to it. So, I don't even need to name the restaurant, but they're just certain places you decide. If you don't like it, don't go anymore. It's your choice.
Rachel also said tone is super important.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Mike in Oklahoma, he says glitter bomb the restaurant.
They probably would have liked that. I think that's too nice.
You.
Like, thanks so much.
Like, I'm sorry, it's counterfeit glitter. Get it out. It's trash.
Get out of my face.
Get out. Josh wants to know if you reported him to corporate.
No, because again, going back to I don't like to draw attention to things. I was going to tweet, which is like what? The passive aggressive way of mentioning a restaurant or someone who's not nice to you and calling them out on it, but I didn't feel like doing that.
True says report it to corporate.
He's just a mean guy.
Seriously, if he's aggressively angry as he sounds, there are other issues happening.
True.
Have you ever in your life ever reported anything to corporate?
No, but remember the other restaurant, the you-know-what place down the road? They sell...
Yes, okay, all right,
place,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that guy, we knew he was mean to everybody.
Yeah.
And like he owned it, and I think he was the manager as well.
He still owns it, right?
Still owns it, but like it's notorious for how mean he is to just customers and people. And I always felt like, well, maybe if someone should call anybody out on someone, it should be this guy.
No, but it's a franchise. Yeah. Like, what are they going to do?
That's true, and he owns it, so it's not. Yeah. It's like telling the owner to the owner. But outside of that, I've never really done that. I'm too embarrassed.
The only thing
even though I'm not the one who did anything wrong.
Well, see, Nikki, actually, that is a very good peek into why victims often don't say anything.
Sure.
Because they feel embarrassed. They feel like they did something wrong when in reality it was somebody else. That's a small example, but that same feeling you have right there goes to a lot of different places. I don't think I ever have. I've done a couple of things. Like, remember when I had the botulism cheese? I called the manager and he was like...
He ate cheese at a movie theater and he got super sick.
Crazy sick.
And then you told him and then they brush you off. Like, that's lucky that's all you got.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, if you had any idea we were dumping into this cheese.
You'd be so thankful it was just that.
Then, oh geez, remember the other time I called?
And that was really bad.
Yeah. They had me come down to the restaurant.
Oh, God.
They lined up the entire staff.
That's because they knew you were on the radio and you said their name.
I said something about it on the radio, and the owner called me, and I've never been back. Can't go back.
Too embarrassed, even though they were so nice about trying to make it right. Making it right was way more embarrassing than the wrong that was done.
Obviously, I had led to those people receiving a royal chewing out.
Sure, they never listened after that point.
Massive.
Which is why I prefer to just decide not to go back, or you don't go watch it, or you just don't go eat there. You just don't, and then the restaurant learns down the road.
Yeah, I don't know. But, well, you know what, Nikki? I think that your choosing not to go there is fine.
And I like it there.
You do, actually.
But I'm not going.
Yeah. I mean, they have an affinity for a certain bear. You have an affinity for a certain bear.
So, nope. Oh, well.
Yeah. All right.
The Riot.
Apparently, some of the less athletic types go nuts for this stuff.
Radio U.
Nikki, I feel like a few minutes ago when I was talking about, how we went from excited to just doing it to angry, I feel that actually is my progression with most streaming content and sometimes even video games. I feel like almost everything that I deal with, I peter out about 70-80%. I'm like, I'm done.
Meaning like you watch a movie and 70% in, then you're kind of done watching. But you were excited to watch it in the beginning, or that's why you don't finish books all the time?
That's where... Yeah, I do. What are you talking about?
You said you don't. A lot of books, you just make it through a certain point and then it just sits there.
Okay, well, there's something to that. I do get excited and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but you know what? I just feel like that's how I feel about a lot of streaming content, and that may be how a lot of people felt about the Cloverfield paradox. You watched the first movie, you loved it. You watched the second movie, you're like, I'm watching it.
Those are both in theaters.
Yes, they were.
And then the most recent one,
the Cloverfield paradox,
that came out on Netflix.
You didn't actually hate it, but it did not do as well for Netflix as maybe we thought. Now, remember that Netflix releases no numbers. So we don't know anything officially from Netflix about how many people watched it. But according to the Nielsen Group, they're the ones that do TV ratings, and they have just started doing Netflix ratings as well.
But I still don't know how much you can take it for.
Well, they say that 5 million people watched it within the first 7 days of its release. I was one of those 5 million people.
Does that seem pretty good? I don't know compared to what.
Well, again, with only their own numbers to compete with, they say 11 million people watched Bright. Bright is kind of their big one where, that was a Will Smith film.
Sure.
And it was directed by the Suicide Squad guy.
That's not a fair comparison. Netflix spent like months promoting Bright.
Right.
Coming. In the Cloverfield project, it was nothing. You got like a Super Bowl commercial and then suddenly it was there after the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that was
that's
it.
fair.
But they had no pre-promotion compared to Bright, which they just shoved at you forever.
That's very true. You know what? I still think like with the Cloverfield paradox, I was like, yeah, it was pretty good. Like, it made me glad I had Netflix because, hey, there's a movie to watch. Cool, whatever. I still haven't finished Bright.
I mean, it's going to be the same category. They're not bad. They're not amazing, but they're not bad.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I started it. I was really excited about it.
70% in.
And then I was like,
yeah, that's you.
And then I was like, I got to stop now.
Yeah, that seems just like you.
So I just never quite.
It's so amazing when you should be so proud if you're a band or a book or a movie and Obi watches you all the way to the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I get real distracted. I don't feel like I used to be like that, but my attention span is shrinking.
Or gone.
And now I'm like, this YouTube video is 2 minutes?
It's too long.
Are you for real right now?
Oh my gosh, yeah, if you start doing 70% of like YouTube videos, then you need to work on that.
And now it's like 15 seconds is the most I could do. Somebody bring back, what was it called? Where it was like 15 second?
Vine?
Yeah, somebody bring back Vine. That's as far as I can take it.
It's the worst of the riot, because calling it the best of the riot would be a lie. Radio U.
Nikki, when you're sliding into first and you're feeling something burst.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you?
I'm sorry. When you're going down the first slalom and you feel something.
Stop.
What?
Are you talking about the Olympians and now being sick?
They've got the norovirus, Nikki.
There's an outbreak that has started with, unfortunately, some of the Olympic athletes.
That have had to, they've been pulled out. They're in isolation now. 2 Swiss skiers are the first athletes confirmed to have been hit by the norovirus at the Winter Olympics. Here's the thing. The norovirus is so contagious, and all of those Olympic athletes are packed into these tiny quarters.
And norovirus it's the cruise ship virus. It doesn't just go away. It stays. Even when you think you've cleaned it away, it's still there. It's very difficult to get away from.
They say that it can live on surfaces for more than 72 hours after it has been expelled from the body.
Can you imagine if you've trained? I mean, this is your life goal. This is what you've been training for your entire life, and you finally get to the Olympics, and then you pick up the norovirus.
Crazy, man.
Which, if you've ever had, is not something to just think, oh, yeah, it's fine. Why don't you just, still go on out and try?
You can't.
Like, it puts you out.
The only person that I ever know that has had a confirmed case of that virus has been our news guy, Nick. He had, he straight up had the norovirus. But other than that, I don't know that I've known somebody that has had it. But so far, there have been over 200 people at the Olympics that have it, but it's been security staff and games personnel. But these are the first 2 athletes
which
that have
they were
picked it
trying
up.
to probably keep it from.
Mm-hmm. And so they've pulled them out. But again, the problem is in that Olympic village, tight quarters, tight whatever, it's not good. Not good at all.
No row. No one wants Noro.
Nobody wants it. So they say that they're freestyle skiers that have been pulled away from everybody else. One of them is Fabian Bosch, who's in, I don't know, apparently people really like him. I don't know who the other one is, but it's not good, Nikki. It's not good.
You don't want that to spread anymore.
And so they've got disinfectant hand wipe stuff everywhere, but
I don't think even that works.
Man, leave your gloves on. Except when that's not going to work because then your gloves will be touching your face.
Then all your outfit will have it all over it.
Dang it.
Ever wonder what Nikki is doing when she isn't rioting? Find her Twitter feed at riot.radiou.com. Obadiah is there too, but who cares what he's doing?
Now, Zach, when Hudson comes in to say hi to us, he brings us food.
Oh, yeah?
So, what'd you bring us?
I do.
Look, Zach,
Nothing.
Hey, I brought some great coffee, and it's in the break room.
Hey,
Okay,
that's
well, that
something.
counts.
That's something.
Obi appreciates
Very good
that.
coffee.
And Zach's kind of the anti-Hudson right now because Nikki, he's the one that's doing the Fight for Air Climb this weekend.
That's true.
right.
So he
Fight
doesn't
for-
need to weigh himself down with extra food.
It's not just for Radio U Columbus, but the Radio U Columbus edition is tomorrow for Fight for Air Climb. But we had them in not too long ago, and that is a trip up a certain amount of steps, and they have different locations for that across the country. And for Radio U Columbus, Zach is leading Team Radio U tomorrow.
So,
Yep,
dude,
super excited about it.
how's your training going?
It was going well in January.
Wait, it was?
Yeah.
What happened?
But
Well-
it's in February that it happened.
Exactly. Well, recently there's been like a few things that have just been busying up my schedule the past 2 weeks in February. So I'm like, oh, I really should get back to it, but I haven't. And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just, train today or maybe train, yesterday, but then I don't want to be sore for
Today,
that
you're supposed to
tomorrow.
carb load.
Yeah, but
So donuts and spaghetti.
And pasta.
well, but, I don't know, because I was going up the stairs and stuff, at the gym, and it takes like 10 minutes. I don't know how much it actually takes for the actual building.
Probably less.
more.
No, less. Because
Less?
what
You'll
what
have
I found
energy
is
from it.
you'll be a little pumped, and the steps are smaller because they are, what do you call them, like emergency steps or whatever, and so
Okay.
they're not as tall as a standard step. So the steps you're doing on
So
the
do you-
machine, you'll do it faster day of than you do on the machine.
But I'm also worried about the cardio aspect of
The
that.
the air quality is a real problem in there.
Exactly. And because, it is, 40 floors.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, you're obviously going to want to sprint
You have to
for
take
the
your
first
time.
part, but you can't.
Take your
Here's-
time.
let
So
me-
it's a pacing thing, and obviously I've never done it before, but I'm trying to figure out a good pace. Maybe it takes 6
Well,
minutes to go up the stairs.
Depending, too, if the rest of Team Radio U joins you, Obi always felt pressure when he would do it of, making sure, do you lead the other people? Are you supposed to go faster than
I always
them,
went
or-
last.
Yeah, or you just let them go first.
I
you
always went
You don't
last.
feel like you have to
I don't know, I
rush.
figured I guessing a good training thing would be maybe just to run for 10 minutes as far as cardio.
Yeah, you just want to do
run for
something to
10
stay
minutes.
loose.
Yes.
Well, we
So-
have a flight of steps here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go up and down them.
So if anybody here at Radio
A
U
lot.
needs Zach to get them something from the break room and go up and down the steps, today's
He
the
needs
day
to go
have
up and
them do
downstairs.
that,
I will be your
tomorrow's
runner for the day.
Yay, that's good.
I will for real, advice. What always happens to people on this thing is your whole life, you've only ever gone up 2 flights of stairs. And I can all but guarantee you that right now you run up the stairs. I run up the stairs. I don't just walk up the stairs. Well, the problem's going to be...
Well, I'm not going to walk up these stairs.
No.
You're going to start running up the steps.
You'll start running, and when you hit the 4th or 5th floor, you'll be like, oh my gosh. And I will tell you, a previous staff member, he did that, and he threw up on the 11th floor.
I did hear that
So
story.
please
Yeah.
let us know if you throw up too.
Yeah, we want to know, but I would say don't throw up. It will feel a little lame, but walk up the stairs.
Or at least in the beginning.
You don't have to, I'm not saying you got to walk up them slow.
How about a light jog?
Well, it's up to you. And the other thing is, I don't know how you train, but use the handrail. Pull yourself up the stairs. You'll save some time
And
that
if
way.
you could make sure to do that on Instagram Stories Live on our Radio U official account
I thought
during
about
the whole
stealing
thing.
someone's GoPro and
Oh,
just...
no, don't. He
It doesn't-
tried that.
we did
and
that
he-
the first year.
You
Oh.
bounce up and down. It's sickening to watch because it's just it's not smooth.
And when we did it, it was so dark that it was when
Yeah.
you finally got the footage, it was you really can't tell what is
it's not
going
worth
on.
watching.
Which was great because I carried that camera up 40
Yeah, you
stairs
did.
with that stupid mount and everything.
Well, if you
Oh,
still-
so you got to trap that to your head. That's what you get taped to
See,
your
but
head
I was
there.
talking to the camera.
Well, you can check out
This is a poor
radiou.com.
choice.
Go to the Ohio section if you would still like to maybe join Team Radio U or get prepared if you want to do that tomorrow. But other Fight for Air climbs are located, or even for Radio U Ohio as well. Our newly announced Radio U 5K is coming up in May. Just like that, you don't have to run the whole thing. You can run or walk too.
So, Zach, good luck, man.
Thanks. I wish myself luck, too. And all of Team Radio U.
Yeah, you a little more confidence than that. Good luck, Zach.
Sorry. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to be humble.
You're
Okay,
fine.
that's fair. That's fair.
Nikki and Obadiah. Obadiah and Nikki.
Love, hate, love.
All right, everyone in, let's go!
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
So, okay, going to the movies today. I need some
You're
help.
decided you are?
Maybe, I don't know, whatever. Let's say
Just
I am.
commit. Say yes.
I don't want to commit. All right, if I have to commit, then I'm not going.
Then you're not going to do it.
If you tell me that I have to, then I'm out.
True.
It's not going to happen. All right. Where were we? Oh, going to the movies today. Now, I kind of want some concessions, but do you think that you know what? It just occurred to me. They call it the concession stand. Do you know what that means? Do you know what a concession is? A concession is when you give up and give somebody something.
So you're just giving up and eating it?
Going to the concession stand is you making a concession. You admit this is too expensive.
You weren't supposed to think
I
of it
don't
that way.
belong here. I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to finally throw my stupid stomach and you terrible people that run this theater, I'm going to make a concession. And I'm going to go ahead and let myself have something.
Do you think that's where it came from back way in the day? Like with the start of whenever concessions started?
I don't know if it did, but it feels like it should.
Yeah.
Concessions.
Like you would, back in the day, you probably only ate at home. And they're like, no, you get to concede and have something there.
This is a good idea. Come
fascinating.
Be with us. I don't know. We should look it up and see what the classical meaning is. But I just realized right there. Okay, then I'm not eating at the theater. Forget it. I'm done.
Have popcorn.
No, I refuse. I will not concede.
This is where you're standing up for. Have some popcorn with butter. You just don't get that flavor through the microwave, okay? Have some there.
No, you know what? They did it. I finally saw through their plans.
They didn't do it. That was way back in the day. They had no need for that.
Buy our candy. Concede! I will never concede.
Yes.
You will never control me.
Don't get anything.
You will never tell me what to do.
No soda, no. Hot dogs are just rolling the dice anyways.
You don't want to do that.
I think they're just sitting in hot, warm water. It's like it's like a bath.
Yeah.
You can have a pretzel. You can have an icy. Sometimes that's really nice to get like a headache.
I will never bow my knee to the concession stand again.
Bow down for Moses.
Bow down to his will.
He wants you to eat popcorn.
He doesn't.
I do.
The owner does, and you do, but no. I will not bow my head. Invictus, baby. What is it like? Battered and bloody brow, I remain unbent.
You go into the theater and they're always like, hey, sir. They always greet you and
welcome you.
Don't talk to me. You just don't even look at them and run right into the theater.
I'm not going to fall for it.
Well,
I know what you're trying.
You're better than me because I can't not have popcorn.
Back, foul temptress! With your smelly popcorn and your beautiful Reese's Pieces that are so good. No! Somebody tie me to the mast and drag me to the theater.
I'm at least thankful at the theater we go to, their Diet Dr. Pepper part of their line of soda fountain machines that you go to yourself hasn't been working for 2 years. So, and I hate Diet Pepsi, that's the only other thing they offer.
It's a mirage. They're like, want some Diet Dr. Pepper? Just kidding.
And it's a lie, too, because you get a little and you think, oh, great. And then you sit down and you drink from it and you realize it just spurted out a little correct Diet Dr. Pepper mix, not the whole thing.
I will tell you, friend to friend, the last week, and it must be because I'm sick or whatever, I want Diet Pop so bad I can't even stand it.
To get the taste of the sickness out.
I can't even stand it. All week I've just been like, man, I want to, what about a Diet Dr. Pepper or a Diet Coke? Oh, heaven forbid a Diet Mountain Dew. Oh. I'm so tired. I'm not sleeping at night.
That's practically clear.
Just be a little help.
Sometimes you have clear soda. A Diet Mountain Dew, I don't know where your line is there. That is practically clear.
This is my Sprite Zero from yesterday. This was me just all right, look, have a little of this. Shut up. You don't get any more.
Suck your little baby bottle.
Yeah, I did. I was like, fine. I took it to lunch with me yesterday, and then I brought it. I put it in the fridge. I got a real problem, guys. And you know what? Something inside me wants to concede, but there will be no concessions today.
That'll teach them.
The Riot spent their entire advertising and promotion budget on catering and craft services.
The junk that guy eats has finally caught up with me.
So please tell your friends. It's The Riot on Radio U.
You know, Nikki, in Germany right now, the police are hard at work on a problem that they're having in Dortmund. There's a lawyer there who keeps getting pizzas delivered.
Oh, I saw. It was like some anonymous...
Someone keeps ordering pizzas and sending them to him.
From the title of the article, because I didn't read it, but I just caught that, I couldn't tell, is this like a stalker or is this a bad thing? Because, if you got a free pizza all the time, is that bad?
Well, that's what is not in the article, but I've been thinking about it. It must be that it's not free. It's probably not paid for. So he's constantly
it's
having
a prank.
Right.
Well, I say just tell the pizza place that and they never let it go through.
Well, you know what? He has been, like, he's had over 100 pizzas delivered. And he said that now they've stopped sending pizzas, which means that pizza places must be getting word. And he started sending other foods, Greek food, some sort of a sausage delivery. Now that's
no one's doing that.
It's got to be a German thing, like Bavarian sausage delivery. It's their McDonald's delivery, okay? That's the way that works.
Eats, is that it?
He's also had sushi that's been delivered from multiple restaurants.
Oh, maybe it's someone who's just actually, if you want to really honestly look at it, it's probably one of his neighbors who hates him for some reason.
Someone hates him.
It's got to be someone close by.
So
it almost always is.
The thing is, though, I don't know. It says that the anonymous buyer's tastes have changed, so that means that someone's buying it for him. Though, okay. Did you read the other article about what's happening in the United States? That people are getting all these things from Amazon that they're not ordering?
That was weird. It was like some older couple, and they said they receive all these packages, and that's some sort of new thing where a company will send out a product in hopes that you will then go on to Amazon and review it, which is not uncommon, but normally you're a part of a program.
Right.
To be able to review things, to be, one of those purchasers, but these people aren't paying for anything. And they get a lot of packages. Like, I don't understand.
That couple came forward, and then what started to happen is now people are talking about it all over. They're like, okay, that's happening to me and me. This one lady
Why haven't I gotten anything for free?
I know. But this one lady got something. She was very unhappy that they sent it to her. And her story, I read her story last night. For almost 3 weeks, she's been kind of fighting with Amazon like, hey, I didn't order this.
Yeah.
I want to know where it came from, and Amazon won't tell her. So she's gone to the police. She said that gotten the police involved, and she said that basically, and this is amazing, over the course of 3 weeks, she managed to, through different customer service reps, each one would kind of let one thing slip, and so she's managed to piece together like the location of the buyer, but the buyer's not a person. It's a
company.
Like, she can't figure it out.
Weird.
It's crazy. So
Okay. So what we're saying is, at first you're like, I'd love free food.
Yeah.
And I would love to get free packages from Amazon, but really it is being harassed.
Yeah.
And you won't like it after a while.
And I'll tell you what, though, if somebody paid for a pizza and had it delivered overnight,
that'd be nice.
I'd be thrilled. I mean, the only thing, here's where you get nervous, is that somebody, what do you call it? Like, they do that, and then they show up like, I'm your pizza person.
Oh,
and
that's the person who's been harassing you?
Well, yeah, and then it's like there's this expectation that you love me because you've eaten all my pizzas.
You've accepted all of it.
Because you've accepted them all. That's like checking yes in the checked yes or no column.
So at first, again, yes, you'd like it, but otherwise you just want to lay low. You don't want anybody to pay attention to you. You do not want that.
It would be a little unnerving.
This was the worst of the riots, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The Riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at radiou.com/donate.
Remember how I've shown you my boogers?